For those who are unaware, Creep is a 2014 horror film starring Mark Duplass and Patrick Brice. Patrick Brice also wrote, directed this film. So Creep follows the story of Aaron, who is he's kind of a filmmaker. The only way I can describe it is filmmaker. He's a filmmaker who finds an ad online and goes out to this cabin in the woods to film a man named Joseph. And Joseph tells him that he has 3 months to live because of a tumor in his head, and he wants to make videos for his son so his son will know him even if he dies. But then we slowly get revealed throughout the movie that Joseph is not who he seems. He has this weird thing where he loves to scare Aaron. Oh, the main character's name kind of slipped my mind for a second. He loves to scare Aaron, and he loves to make Aaron uncomfortable. And he likes to admit to things that will directly make Aaron uncomfortable. And I think this is really interesting for what it's doing. So Joseph to spoil the movie, Joseph is a serial killer who is hiring filmmakers to come out and film him. And then once they leave the cabin, which it does seem that part of his plan is letting them leave. So he wants them to leave so he can start stalking them and he can creep them out. Irony. He can creep them out and freak them out. So once he's creeped them out, freaked them out, that's when he finally does the deed and takes them out. And I think it's really interesting how this movie, sorry for the slip up, I think it's really interesting how this movie studies Joseph as a killer. So we don't just see Joseph as this person. Joseph isn't just like a cold-hearted, Jason Voorhees type. He shows emotion, and he shows that in a way, he cares about the people he's murdering, especially Aaron, because he seems to really, really like Aaron and almost love him. So, actually no, it's not almost. He does love Aaron. He sends him a necklace with a heart on it, and that says A+J forever or something along those lines. I think that's really interesting because the way he's portrayed is he is emotional, and that he wants to make an emotional connection with his victims. And I think that's really weird, but also that's not something I don't think you see a lot in these kinds of movies. And I think Creep successfully makes itself scary. To move on to my next point, Creep makes itself scary in the fact that it's so personal. It is filmed like a found footage horror movie, and normally I don't think found footage works as well. I don't think found footage works very well a lot of the time. But here, found footage works really, really well because it makes the whole story far more personal. We start to care about Aaron, and when Aaron gets freaked out, we get freaked out because we don't want anything bad to happen to Aaron. And there's one scene in particular I think it's an amazing use of a jump scare and amazing use of cinematography and camera work. And it's a scene near the final 30 minutes of the movie where Aaron, he's in his room, and it's at night, and he's talking about how he's having these nightmares about Joseph, and he's really freaked out, and he hears a knocking in his house, so he turns on all the lights, and he's looking around, and he doesn't see it, but he leaves his camera, and Joseph appears in the doorway. He never sees it. Joseph leaves before he can, but we as the audience see it, and it freaks us out because is Joseph going to break in? What's he going to do? I think that's so effective. I think that's a really interesting use of horror, and I really love that scene. I'm trying to think of what to talk about next. This is kind of what happens when you make an unscripted video. Problems arise. What else? Oh yeah. Next, another thing that's really creepy is the phone call about halfway. It's around the halfway mark in the movie. So Joseph falls asleep, and Aaron takes his phone and he means to try to find his car keys, but he ends up picking up a call from Joseph's sister, who this whole movie he's been telling Aaron about his wife, and his wife doesn't exist. We learn that his wife, his child, the thing he was hired to come film is not real. And because then you start to wonder, that's so good, because you start to wonder what is real. Is his name Joseph? Does he own this cabin? What is real? And about that time, after he gets the phone call from his sister, she's like, you need to leave now. My brother is not well. You need to go. And before he can go, Joseph's nowhere. He goes outside, he finds Joseph, and he tells him that he knows. He knows what's going on here. And that causes Joseph to freak out. And Joseph runs to the door, runs into the house, and he's gone. And we don't know where he is. He could be anywhere. And that's what makes it scary. We don't know where Joseph is. It's so small. And Aaron can't run away because he's surrounded by woods. And Joseph would probably catch him. So there is no escape. There's nothing he can do. Joseph has his car keys. So we don't know what's going to happen. And then Joseph, in a wolf mask that was introduced earlier in the film as a Peach Fuzz mask, which is just a whole different story. The Peach Fuzz mask is an amazing mask that is so creepy. And I love the mask. The mask is so cool. Joseph is wearing the mask and blocking the door, and he's not talking. I believe it is, he says, will you let me leave? Joseph, he shakes his head no. And he's like, are you trying to scare me? And he nods his head. And then he charges him, and they get into a fight, and he does escape. And we cut to weeks later. I think it's weeks later. I don't remember if the movie specifically specifies if it is weeks later. But we cut to him, and he's found something. Joseph starts sending him tapes of him burying bags, of him just doing really weird, creepy stuff. Again, irony. And it's so freaky. Because it moves from a kind of what feels like could almost be a slasher movie to a home invasion. He's being actively stalked by Joseph, and that is, it's so good. When Joseph is, the final, I think 45 minutes of this film, once we get back to Aaron's house, is so just well made. I have to give props to Patrick Price and especially Mark Duplass for bringing these characters to life, and it's just amazing. I'm trying to just think of, this movie's so amazing, I'm trying to think of more things to talk about. The character of Aaron is a really good choice for the main character, because he's just very, very likable, is essentially what I can say. I don't know how much Patrick Price wrote this character to be like him, but if it was, that's weird, I'm going to cut this part out. So, next I want to talk about the character of Aaron. And Aaron he's such a good character because he's always kind of like scared. And when Aaron's scared, we as the audience are scared for him, because throughout the movie, it gives us so many scenes of us growing to like Aaron that we don't want to see him go out. He's not just a body that's going to get knocked down. And because this movie is only about two people, it's so personal that we grow attached to both Aaron and Joseph. And throughout the movie, we kind of learn how scary Joseph is. And we see how scared of Joseph Aaron is. And that just sells it. When the character being scared of the monster sells it because it makes us as the audience scared. We're thinking if they're scared, then we should be scared too. And Aaron Patrick Price does an amazing job. Patrick Price does an amazing job of bringing this character to life. And then there's Joseph, who's played by Mark Duplass, who I'm probably mispronouncing that name. But oh my goodness, he just does a phenomenal job of bringing this character to life. It has slowly become one of my favorite acting performances because of how he just flip-flops between like carefree guy to immediately going to like, what's going on? Is this guy serious right now? To a threatening force. Particularly in the scene where he is stalking Joseph. Particularly in the scene where he is stalking Aaron. That scene just sends shivers down your spine. It is so amazing. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Just go out, watch Creep. This video's I know this video is very like choppy, but it's not very professional. That's just because I wanted to make a video to get out there in this new style that I'm going to try out. And I just didn't know what to make a video about. So I didn't have time to write a script, and I just kind of wanted to get this out there. So, the end.